How is everybody doing? Hope you're all well. In this video, we're going to take a look at Blur on compact disc. Right, here's a confession. I made this video, I made a Blur on compact disc video a few years ago, and somebody noted that I never actually included 13, and I was looking back going, I actually made a mistake. Imagine. I made a mistake. I mean, I don't make mistakes, but I have 13. So I'm going to remake this video, include 13. So let's get going. So Blur are synonymous with Brit Pop. Brit Pop was, kind of a tag put on bands from Britain at the time that were pop bands. I mean, didn't we have a lot of pop bands in the 80s? But these bands kind of drew from, more classic rock things like the Kinks, the Beatles, the Stones, I guess, and kind of slightly quirkier British pop music from the 60s and 70s. I think bands like Blur and stuff like that, Suede and Pulp and stuff, like they kind of obviously borrowed from Bowie and stuff. I think Blur borrowed as well from the 80s. I think I can hear hints of Madness there sometimes. So another band as well, Stone Roses. They were quite unique at the time. So there was a kind of competition between them all. But you pick what you like. Oasis, of course, became absolutely massive. Their sound is a little bit more one-dimensional. It's kind of more rock and roll and stuff like that. Harken back like to the Jam and the Who and stuff like that. But influenced as well by the Beatles and John Lennon and stuff like that. So anyway, the first album was just called Leisure, and this one is from 1991. I was never really too fond of this. I remember buying it back in 95 when I got into the band. That was at the peak of the Brit Pop boom, I guess. Singles like She's So High, There's No Other Way. They didn't really dent the charts much back then. This was kind of indie stuff. You must remember, like in the early 90s, you had Nirvana and the grunge thing, and then Pearl Jam and all that kind of stuff becoming very, very big. So like this was kind of, kind of a little bit kind of maybe classed as shoegazer stuff and slacker stuff like that, So yeah, it's got a kind of its own thing. Sing is a really interesting track. I like the time signature on it. I think that was used in the movie Trainspotting. It's probably one of the best tracks on this album. But I'm not really too fond of it. Like, it's not my favorite by any means. I think it was produced by Stephen Street. He worked with the Smiths in the 80s. So yeah, that's Leisure. Not much pleasure. Next one up is Modern Life is Rubbish. This is a great album. I really like this. It's a great photograph on the cover as well. This has got some great tracks on it. For Tomorrow, Chemical World, Sunday. Yeah, I like this album. There's kind of touches of the Kinks in this one as well, I guess. Yeah, I mean, they draw from everything, bit of Bowie, but yeah, I like it. It's a good album. This is probably one of the best Blur albums, really is. I don't think it's their best, but it's definitely, I don't know, I don't like rating stuff anymore. I just like listening to this one. I've listened to it a lot. I enjoy it. It's good. Next up is probably the first big peak they had, and this is called Park Life. It's got loads of singles on it. Girls and Boys, Tracy Jacks, End of a Century, Park Life, Bank Holiday, To the End, This Is a Low, another great one. So yeah, Park Life is a masterpiece of Brit Pop, and it's really, really, worth having. It's a big album, and very, very popular back in 1994. Next up is The Great Escape. I think this is kind of underrated. This was from the peak of the battle with Oasis for number one. Blur won, I think. Country House got to number one in August, September 1995. This album is a little bit underrated. It's a move on from Park Life. I actually nearly prefer it than Park Life. It's got some strong material in the first half. Stereotypes, Country House, Best Days. That's a great track. Charmless Man, Fade Away. Reminds me of the Specials and stuff like that. Top Man, Universal. That's a great track as well. Then halfway through, then you got Mr. Robinson's Quango and He Thought of Cars. They were actually two very good tracks as well. I really liked them. A little bit of filler after that, and then you got one of my favorites is Yuko and Hiro. I think it's about two Japanese people working on a production line who hardly ever see each other or something. I'm not sure. Yeah, I like this one. I do. I think it's a good album. It's definitely worth reinvestigating if you have it. I listened to it again recently, and the production is great. I think Stephen Street is still here for that. It's a good album. You know, it's got some nice things on it. Next up is a live one. This is live at Budokan, but I think there's a couple of tracks from an English gig as well here. This is the Great Escape Tour. This is a Japanese release. I bought this in Australia when I was living there in '97. I actually bought it in Polyester Records, Fitzroy. So if there's anybody from Melbourne watching this video, I really enjoyed the record shops in Melbourne back then. There were some fantastic places. So there you go. That's a nice novelty to have. It's a good one. Yeah. Next up is from 1997. Okay. This one is just called Blur. It's a blur because somebody's been raced into ER. Beetle Bum, Song 2, Country Sad Ballad Man, MOR On Your Own. They're very strong songs. They're great. And there's a little bit of filler then, you know. Some of the stuff, Death of a Party, it kind of hints towards Gorillaz. Stuff like that. And then Essex Dogs is a long piece with just kind of a guitar loop, which sounds like a machine. I really, really like that. That's one of my favorite things on the whole album. The band were listening to things like Pavement at the time and American lo-fi stuff. It's a good album. Yeah, it really is. It's very enjoyable. I'd say I've probably played this more than any other Blur album. I actually saw them the year before in the RDS in Dublin on the Great Escape Tour. And I saw them in Australia on this tour. Next up is Bustin' and Ronin. This one is, again, Japanese. It's got remixes from the Blur album that preceded it. And then it's got P. Laker sessions. So that's probably the best thing here. The remixes are a little bit, I don't know, they're strange and they're dated and stuff and they're noodly. I'm not too fond of them. There's some stickers with this as well. It's a double CD. It was reissued again recently on vinyl and on compact disc, but they omitted the P. Laker sessions, which is a shame because you got Pop Scene, which was a non-album single back in 1992. Song 2, On Your Own, Chinese Bombs, Moving On, MOR. It's a shame that they didn't put one extra disc in the vinyl, but they didn't. So yeah, this is not essential, but it's a nice collector's piece. Next up is 13. This was a new move for Blur. They hired William Orbit to produce the album. He had previously worked with Madonna on her album Ray of Light from previous year or two. Yeah, 13 is I don't know, some of it's a bit long. There's somebody trying to phone me. Some of it's a little bit long and rambling and stuff, but it's got a beautiful song here, Tender. And then you got Coffee and TV, which is another good one. Yeah, some of the songs are a little bit depressing and stuff. You know, Damon Albarn was breaking up with his long-time partner, Justine Frischmann. So this is a kind of a separation album. It's a little bit somber and stuff like that. No Distance Left to Run. Yeah, it's not bad. Again, there's some kind of trip-hop beats and stuff like that. It reminds me of where Gorillaz would come from. You know, there's another good one here as well. I don't know, there's one where he sounds like Robert Plant from Led Zeppelin. It's ridiculous. This is just a deluxe edition, numbered, and it's number 176490 for anybody that wants to know. Just comes in a little box like this. This is actually the copy I bought. Originally, I picked up the normal CD box in the last few years. So yeah, look, it's just got a nice miniature. It's a miniature LP thing, I guess. There's the poster inside here. Yeah, 13's not bad, like I said, but when I listen to it, I always feel that, you know, it kind of runs a little bit long and stuff like that, and you know, it kind of, I don't know, I kind of lose engagement with it, even though there's some good stuff on it. Okay, we got some more over here. Next up is the Best of Blur, and this is a compilation up to the first album to 13, and there's a DVD as well in this with all the videos that they made, and then there's a couple of extra songs as well. Music Is My Radar is on it, I think. Is that it? Yeah, it's not bad, you know. It's a nice compilation. I like the artwork as well. It's pretty cool. The booklet has all the singles in it. Oh, I keep dropping stuff. I'm like a clumsy oaf. Yeah, so yeah, it's pretty cool, and it's a nice compilation. There's another one as well called Midlife, which is another Blur compilation. I didn't buy that because I have everything on it. But this one has a live, it has live material on it as well. And this is the normal CD version. There's actually Blur printed on the box, so if you break the box, you lose. Next up is Think Thank. This one came out in 2003. Yes, that's a Banksy image on it, of course. This one, at the time I really liked it and stuff like that when I bought it, but Graham Coxon was after leaving the band by then, and I think he's an important part of it. His guitar playing is great. He's on one song on this, and it is called Battery in Your Leg. A lot of the guitar, and this is played by Damon, and it's looped around. This really points towards Gorillaz. Remember, the first Gorillaz album was after being released before this came out, so there's lots of loops and stuff in it. There's some good stuff on it. I like Out of Time. I think that's good. Crazy Beat is almost like a copy of song 2. Quite mellow. I like Caravan. That's a good one as well. But yeah, I think Graham Coxon is sorely missed because you know, he's such a unique player. He really suits their music. This is a deluxe edition in a hardback bound book, cloth bound, and it's got like lyrics and stuff like that, and the disc is here. I think there's extra content hidden in the disc somehow. So yeah, that was 2003. Next up is Blur Park Live. This is a live album. It's got 3 discs in it. This is from a concert, I think, but there's one disc as well, which is kind of you know, odds and sods, but they're live. Yeah, it's not bad. It's good. You know, it's just, I guess they released live albums because they, you know, wanted to still kind of be relevant and stuff like that. It's not bad. It's interesting, and you know, not essential by any means. There's another live one as well from 2009 with the black cover. I think that was kind of a fans thing. I'm not sure. I have yet to pick it up. Then they released The Magic Whip. Now, I bought this in 2015 when it came out on vinyl and stuff like that, but I've never really engaged with the album. I don't know what it is. It never seems to grab me. I've have to listen to it a few times, even over the last year. The artwork is great. You know, it's got all this kind of Chinese stuff in it. The vinyl's even more spectacular. But again, it's an album that it never really grew on me, and every time I listen to it, I forget it. You know, it's just one of those strange albums. This is called The Ballad of Darren. This is from last year. Came out last summer. This one again never really grew on me. There's some good stuff in it. It's kind of a bit mature. Yeah, it's a funny one. I'm not sure. It just doesn't. Yeah. It's a funny one. I like the packaging as well. It's cool. Yeah, it's pretty good. Nice to see a Blur album again, you know, but you know, the last couple, you know, they don't sound anything like you know, the band back in the 90s, you know what I mean? And I just keep dropping stuff, like it's just beyond a joke at this stage. Yeah, so I feel I haven't really listened to it that much. I did listen to it 4 or 5 times, like, but I mean, you know, like I said, time's flying. Let's listen to it again. And the latest one is live at Wembley Stadium. This is a 2 CD album of the Sunday show, and it's actually great. It's good. The playing here is quite good. Again, you know, if you listen, you can hear Graham Coxon doing a lot of stuff with his guitar. He's multitasking. Yeah, he's just a great player, you know what I mean? And you know, he really suits the band. You know, just the discs are pretty plain. Yeah, he really does suit this band, you know. And this one as well also came out on triple vinyl and a double vinyl, which is kind of the highlights from both nights, which is a bit strange. Yeah, but this is good. It's interesting. You know, it's a great concert. There's a lot of energy there as well. And yeah, so that's it. That's all there is to say, really. That's Blur on compact disc. That's my collection. I'm sure there's a few more I don't have. There's the one, the collector's edition. Did come out in CD back in the 90s. It was released on vinyl last year, with the B-sides from the first 2 or 3 albums. That was only a Japanese CD, I think. I don't have it. And anyway, that's tough luck. So anyway, thanks for watching. Feel free to subscribe and take care.